A warm welcome back to Stone Valley for episode 32 with me, MrSealyp. What I decided to do to help the slurrying digestate spreading, I've moved the quad track has now finished doing liming, so I've put the quad track on the Valzelli, the Cubex, and I've leased one of the Vinhus Premium Integral 2. I think it's the standard in-game one. It seems that this Magnum just rocks on everything. When I hooked up, it was fine. As soon as I filled it with digestate, it started rocking again. But anyway, regardless of that, oh look at that, that's a fantastic animation. Love that. So yeah, what I can do with this one is hire a worker. So, well, I think I can anyway. So what we'll do, there we go. You can see a bit more of a green on there. This is only going to do certain parts of this because when I did this field, the centre section, the grass had grown a bit, and when I ploughed it, it ploughed the grass under and gave me a fertilising estate. But when I did the outside bits ploughing, the grass hadn't grown enough, so it didn't. Once I go over the divide, now we're going to be putting there we go. The digestate will be going down exactly as it should be. So what I can do now is I can leave a worker for doing some of it, then I'll go and jump into the quad track with the Valzelli and crack on with that. This has only got a 30,000 litre tank, so it's going to take a few refills, but then it would do in the real world. You know, when you watch most farming operations on whatever scale there are, they're going backwards and forwards to collect slurry. You don't have an indefinite supply in a slurry tank. You can't stay out in the field for hours and hours. You either have to be resupplied or you go back to your farm and you collect. It depends how far you've got to drive. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm going to be doing for a little while. I did say in the last episode I'll get all this done off camera, but I thought because I've grabbed another piece of machinery to help, it just kind of made sense to show it while I'm doing it. Sorry, I always hire a worker. Whenever I'm kind of doing camera work, I hire a worker and I haven't got to worry about driving and cameraing at the same time. And then what I'll do a headland because it's not going to do the headland. And I'm good to let it go, although it's going to run out, isn't it? This seems to have gone a lot quicker out of this. Bear in mind the Valzelli's 4,000 litres. 40,000. This is 30,000. It's only 10,000 litres less. This has got a 30 metre spread, and the Valzelli's a 35. This is absolutely honking through it. I did an almost full strip of the field at 35 metres of the next field, field 3. I've done, well, one strip and I'm going to do a little bit on this. Yeah, I think this is using it at a much faster rate. Oh well, still needs to be done. You know, it just suddenly dawned on me. I haven't been through the comments from the last episode yet, at the time of recording this part of this episode, but I don't think I should have bought the Valzelli, because what's just suddenly dawned on me, we have now, with the Valzelli and with the Venus Premium Integral, field 3, bottom of field 3, field 6, 7, 17 are now all slurried or digestated. With the worker, I had the worker set so it would use the slurry from the 2 cow farms. So I bounced between those. So as it stands now, if we go down to the cows, slurry's at 1,400 litres, slurry's at 871 litres. I used everything. There was 70,000 litres in each, so 140,000 litres gone. Used all of that from the cows, so all the slurry's gone. As far as the digestate goes, I used everything that we had in storage at the farm, so that was 300 and something thousand litres. Was it 350 did I put in there in the end? Something like that. And then I went over to start using what we had at the biogas plant. So the thing about it is, and I said this right from the word go, slurrying is fine and digestate as a byproduct from the BJ is fine. But you get through hundreds of thousands of litres very, very quickly. So to be able to use it as a product all the time, you can't. You just can't keep up with it. You'd have to be constantly selling at the biogas plant to produce enough digestate as a spare to then use on your fields. The proviso on that being, if you're running your game without seasons. If you're running a game with seasons, however, because you're only doing seasonal crops and you've got enough time in each year to prepare your digestate as a byproduct and have it stored, then yeah, if you go around all your fields once, you can get away with it. Unfortunately, running it without, it's great and it's free. Oh, hang on, what's happened here? It's free, which is exactly what we want. What's happened? No. Oh, I know what I've done. I've done that, haven't I, again? Excuse me. I apologise. Yeah, it's great and it's free as a byproduct. I suppose what I stupidly did was by leasing a second slurry spreader, what I saved in the free digestate I spent on leasing a slurry spreader. I bought this one, but now for all intents and purposes this will now sit and it will do nothing until I've built up enough slurry or digestate from the cows and biogas plant to be able to use it again. So I should have leased it, shouldn't have bought it, this one I think. And that's all I've got left out of potentially 650, 700, 800,000 litres I think we had in total between all the various different cows and here at the biogas plant. We've got 132,000 litres left. That's it. But oh yeah, I've got one bit of field left to go. I was going to put some more in this. So yeah, I don't know. The Valzelli I might well sell back, and then if we do slurring again, if I do decide to do slurring again, I wanted to do it because we had it all here as the byproduct. We were making it. You know, it made sense to have it. I am currently in the process of doing a fertilising contract on field 29. The next fertilising is available on field 11 too. So we should make a nice bit of money. Actually, while I'm saying that, let's go across. Contracting oh, it's complete. Oh, that's a result. Okay, so I can collect on that. Field 11, field 10 doesn't seem to be on here, does it, for fertilising? Or does it further down? No, maybe it's not ready yet. So what we'll do is we'll take the one for field 11. Thank you very much. Accept contract. And that's just using my GeoSpread, the exacta that I've been using all the time for doing my solid fertiliser spreading. So at the moment I don't have a liquid fertiliser spreader, and if I sell this back with the view that moving forward I would lease one, then I may well invest the money towards getting a different liquid fertiliser sprayer. The Big Brute was brilliant, don't get me wrong, I said that before, but I might well look at something else. Anyway, Again, just a quick update, just to let you know where we're at, where we stand with regard to all of the digestate and slurry. We did produce an absolute load of it, but you do get through an absolute load of it. Of course, that will depend on the map as well, and depends how many fields you've got and that kind of thing. You know, if I did a 4 million bunker silo, filled one up to the brim, and then sold all of it and filled up all of my storages everywhere, then yeah, potentially I could have, you know, I think on Washoe at one point I think I had 1.6 million litres of digestate on hand, I think, plus the cows were producing slurry at a rate. So yeah, I've got this tiny little bit left to do here, and I'm spraying the entire road now as well. So what I should be doing really is swing the nozzle back that way. There you go, so I don't get it all over the road. And I think this is the last bit, and we are good. There we go. Just a tiny, tiny section, which I'll go and get now. And now we're ready for planting. I've got to decide, seeding, planting, what we're going to go for, what we're going to use. Do that again. And that is it. Let's check the map again. So that section there that wasn't quite done is now done. Yeah, so I'm good now, ready for seeding or planting. What I'll do is move my fertilising unit up to field 11. Get that done. Yeah, fantastic. Still loving the quad track. What I thought I would do was move the wall pallets. I didn't realise I had 2 full and a third on the way, so what I'll do is grab... I'm going to use the Bobcat. I do have concerns. I mean, I've done it before and I've kind of got away with it, but the big... I think I've just caught the post. Did I catch the post? Yeah, there's not a lip on the concrete. Yeah, the big bag handler I absolutely love, just for a little bit of manoeuvring. But what I'm going to do is put the wool pallets into the barn where the big brute was stored, just out of the way. I was thinking about putting a shelter over here next to the sheep, but I thought, well, with the building's just there, just over to my right. But I think this is going to be a little bit too heavy. Now, a couple of the different skid steer loaders I've used in the past have either had a trailer hitch on the back, in which case you could kind of put a weight on semi-dodgily, or there was a weight that came with them, but this doesn't, and having 2 pallets on there is overloading it a little bit. But I really want to be able to move 2 pallets at a time. I know it sounds a bit, you know, realistically in the real world, if you've got a smaller size skid loader, there's a weight limit that if you can only move 1 pallet at a time, or whatever you're using, you would move 1 pallet at a time. But realistically, I don't know, I'll see how the next load goes. And if it is still, I mean, that tips quite a lot. It's fine on the flat, but as soon as you get any kind of downhill, like forward gradient, it just tips. So I think what I might do, we may have to go for a larger lift loader of some description. It's finding one that's a larger lift capacity for a similar or cheaper price. I mean, to be honest with you, price isn't a problem. I've got enough money from the contracts I'm doing and picking up. Price isn't an issue. I did think about getting like a front loader, something like a Kramer, maybe, with an extendable boom, potentially. But it's yeah, it's more the space it takes up. Don't know. Potentially. I need to get onto seeding as well. I'm just thinking of a few different jobs I need to do. I need to go and muck out the cows again. What else do I need to do? Oh, I need to knock down the sugarcane in field 32? 35. Field 35. So, yeah, I've got a couple of jobs I want to do, but I'm realising, what time is it now? It's gone 3 o'clock, isn't it? I really do need to get on with planting. I'm thinking cotton in field 3 and the bottom part of field 3. And then possibly corn. I only did one corn harvest, but I'm thinking, you know, I don't know, that comment I watched, I know I've said recently I've been watching a lot of Welker Farms, and all the ones I usually watch, anyway, I've been watching all of them. I have a kind of routine I roll around in the evenings when I finish doing all my jobs and everything's done. I'll sit down and I'll catch up on the day. I don't watch a lot of normal TV as such. I'll kind of catch up on all my YouTube content I like to watch. But I think the Iowa stuff with the storm, and I don't know, it was Fast Ag, wasn't it? Thank you for the comment about Fast Ag. It was Fast Ag and Welker Farmers were doing the thing to raise money. I just think maybe a corn harvest might be a kind of nod in the right direction. But yeah, I don't know, we'll see. Again, still haven't quite decided. $25 to 4. It's time to fire up the bud. Right, let's get some seeding done. The skid steer loader has gone back. We're putting that down to trial hours. Let's just say that, shall we? We didn't get reimbursed the full amount, but we... you know why. Yeah, it just, I don't know, it just wasn't quite what I hoped. I mean, I don't know what I hoped. The skid steer loaders are skid steer loaders, but there, like I said, there are variances within that. So what I'm going to do is hook up. I just had to realign all this a little while ago because it was all over the place. It was driving me bonkers. Right, we're going to change that from soybean to okay. Oh no. You muppet. No, I can't, can I? It's not time to fire up the bud. Back in the quad track. Oh, I could use the bud, but... oh. Flippity gibbets. I need to cultivate. Because I need to put cotton down, so I need to use the other planter. There's another reason why I can't get rid of it. Just so it dawned on me as well. Not that. That. I forget every single time. Horrendous. It's not a direct drill, is it? The larger one. No. The other one was, yeah, of course. Right, okay, I need to cultivate. Oh. Never mind. Yeah, anyway, so, back to the skid steer loader. Skid steer loader has gone back. However, one of the very friendly guys up at the machinery store, the Case Ag Illinois, did say that locally there is a skid steer loader, say going begging, I'm still going to buy it, but one of the farms along the main road where I used to live, they've got an old skid steer loader in the back of the barn. He has suggested that might be a better fit. Like I say, it's an older model, it's not brand new or anything like that, but it might just suit our needs. And luckily for me, I've got form with them. I have used this particular brand before, so we'll be going to collect that at some point, hopefully in a little while. I completely forgot about this. There's me thinking in my head, oh yeah, we'll just get on the Paralink and we'll get cracking. I mean, it's fair, I could get the Paralink going on the other fields and get the... no, I can't get the corn in because the other one doesn't do corn either. Oh. Maybe doing cotton and corn wasn't the best idea. 2 crops I need the planter for and not the seeder. Oh well. Let's go. I think I'm going to increase the cows as well. I might go up another notch. Try and do my math a little bit better next time. But yeah, I might go up another notch with the cows too. I think what we'll do is we'll get the planting / seeding done. I'll go and grab the new skid steer loader. We'll keep an eye on the wool production as that continues overnight. In the morning we'll get chickens. Yeah, I wanted to get the slurrying done in this episode. Or finished off, not start, because I started in another episode, but I wanted to get it finished, slurrying and digestating, which we now have done. And then I wanted to get the planting, seeding done. So that's what we're going to be getting done. I just completely forgot about this situation. Give myself a bit of a headland. And we'll get this cracking. Yeah, well, I suppose what I can do, I can have this running, and although it'll be a bit of overkill, I'll get the bud on the planter, so I can run directly behind it. That makes a bit more sense. Assuming I've actually got seed in it, which I don't know if I have. Last job I used it for was doing the grass, wasn't it? Can we get right to the edge without hitting the tree? Yep. It's a tricky dilemma, isn't it? Well, I don't know if you know it is or whether it... In that... YouTubing being a kind of fickle beast that it is, because I just enjoy playing the game, you know, I have done since the very first time I played it. And like I've said many times before, just running the machinery, just using the machinery, just the whole process, and initially playing it and finding it a real great stress reliever, you know, from a busy day at work and that kind of thing, to it progressing to a point where it became my work in essence, that I could happily, you know, I suppose Daggerwin does it and does it very well, but doing a let's play that lasts sort of 60, 70, 80 episodes, you know. But even that, I'm thinking to myself, there must be a lot of stuff that gets duplicated. You must do the same jobs again. There's a limited amount of jobs and things you can do within the game, so there's, you know, only so many times you can do something fresh or new. Using different equipment is one way of doing that. But I'm quite happy going through the, you know, because I do want to see where it all goes, you know. I want to see where I end up. I want to see, I suppose like I did on Washoe, but there's a certain element of that that involves duplication of jobs, because the reprocessing of fields, as I'm doing now, and again, I know I've said this before, and I apologise if I'm harping on about the same sort of things, but cultivating is cultivating. You know, yes, you can use different styles of cultivators, different manufacturers, that kind of thing, but in essence it's the same job, the same as planting or seeding or those kind of things. For me, the fascination is different machinery, bigger machinery, doing it in ways you haven't done before, or, you know, using machinery you haven't done before. And like I said in the last episode, just watching the machinery work and operate, and the challenges and tasks of, you know, when you're getting busy on the farm, of multitasking different jobs and trying to get things done. I love all of that. I don't need the bud. The Magnum should have enough power to pull this. I think it requires about 280 horsepower. Or if it's 300 and something, I've got 451 on this, so I should have enough. Is it going to rock? Not at the moment. 4,574 litres. Right, let's swap that over to cotton. Let's go through the gap. Open her up. On the telegraph pole. It's the last thing I want to do. Let's rock and roll. That's pulling this, no problem at all. Easy peasy stuff. Sorry about before. I do, you know, if you've been watching my channel a while, you'll know I do that. I'll start talking if you're new to the channel, and I kind of go off on a bit of a tangent sometimes and talk about some random stuff. Which reminds me, Smock Farmer commented recently. And I wanted to address it to him, but I wanted to address it to kind of everyone else. And I appreciate the comment, and I appreciate the kind of the. I just wanted to kind of help people to understand. This kind of comes off the back of what I was just doing. The fact I was just kind of chatting, and I kind of go off on a bit of a tangent sometimes. And it was about kind of shout outs to people and thanking people for comments and that kind of thing. And again, this is something I've touched on before. But it's a difficult situation in that when I'm reading comments, and I still read every single comment. I don't respond to every single comment. I try and like the ones that I like, and you know, I don't dislike comments. And that's one thing. It's again kind of weird YouTube thing, isn't it? That people will dislike a video for 101 different reasons, 1,000,001 different reasons they'll dislike a video, whatever it might be. It could just be the tone of your voice, and they just dislike it. I never dislike a comment. I don't think I've ever disliked one. Even the ones that have been particularly nasty or whatever, the really awful ones, just delete them because I just can't see the point. I just don't even bother. But I don't dislike comments. Never have done. I'll go through. I'll comment on comments that I want to comment on, or feel need to reply or a comment. But it was regarding a kind of the shout outs to people, and I wanted to explain how my process works. So my process, how my mind works. That could be quite dangerous territory, couldn't it? In that, when I go through everyone's comments, if I read a comment that I think, oh, that's something I want to talk about in the next episode, in the next video, I'm going to talk about that. That's a kind of a specific, that's a talking point. I will jot down the person's name, and then when I talk about it, I will often say, oh, you know, thank you to so and so for bringing. Like I'm saying now about Smock Farmer, you know. Some people don't like getting shout outs. Some people don't want to be, say, named. I'm not using the person's actual name, but so I'll write down the name, and I might jot down a little comment just to remind me what their comment was about. And then when I do my next video, I remember to say, oh yeah, by the way. But because I'm reading hundreds of comments, and I'm reading them on whether they're direct Twitter messages, whether they're on Twitter, whether they're direct Facebook messages, or just left on Facebook, whether they're YouTube comments, and they're left across a myriad of different environments. And I'll read hundreds every single day, hundreds of comments, and some stick in my head, but not because I think, oh, I'll talk about that, just because I think, oh, you know, interesting comment. But then weirdly, when I start doing one of my rambles like I just did, and I'll be talking about all sorts of weird rambling stuff, a comment that somebody left that I wasn't intending to talk about suddenly pops into my head, and I think, oh, and I mention it. But the problem is, because it wasn't one I had originally thought, oh, I'll mention that, I then don't have the person's name to hand. I can't say, oh, so-and-so said, because of the hundreds of comments, I can't remember who said what. But the flip side of that is also a thing, that I can't write down every single name of every single person that leaves every single comment, just in case I decide in one of my rambles that I might mention something someone said. So it's a difficult situation. I have said before about, you know, if a lot of people leave the same comment, I will say thank you to everyone who mentioned or commented on. If one person leaves, like I say, a particular comment that I think, oh, actually that's something I want to talk about, then I will, you know, that person will get a shout out. I know there are a few names that pop up quite regularly, and some of those people have been regular subscribers, regular commenters, and people I consider to be online friends. It's a funny world that we talk about friends and friendship with people we've never met. you know, and I do consider some of these people to be friends and loyal friends and helpful friends and what I call a critical friend. Not critical in fact they criticise you all the time, but they will critique what you're doing. They will give a criticism that's constructive and helpful and offer advice and that kind of thing, which a lot of people do. But there are some people that have been doing it for a very long time, and who I've kind of got to know through chatting, and you know, and there is a whole list of them. People I've mentioned so many times before. Some people will leave one comment and they might not leave another comment for another 6 months. Some people will leave comments every single day. Some people will leave multiple comments every single day. And I apologise if I only mention certain names, but again, it's easy to remember names of people that have been commenting for a very, very long time and you've already had a dialogue with, people that you think you kind of know. I know it's difficult to say I know them well. You know them well within the realms of what you understand about them and what you've found from them, you know, in an online chat, you know, in messages and comments and that kind of thing. You can't really know a person, you know, without meeting them, and I think there's something very important about meeting a person and looking them in the eye and watching a person's body language and gestures, and you know, it's why I think youngsters have, you know, I'm doing it again, why youngsters have a lot of difficulty these days, and I found that working in a school, social interactions become harder and harder and harder. And it's what I try to kind of teach and explain to kids is, you know, even down to the whole keyboard warrior thing, people leaving horrible comments, being rude, being nasty. It's very easy to do when you're hiding behind a computer screen. Online and cyberbullying, which we used to teach at school, is a very easy thing to do when you can't see that person's reaction. When you're looking at a person in the face and you insult somebody, their reaction is instant, it's visceral, it's the thing you see immediately. And as a human being, that affects you. However, if you're the sort of person that doesn't care about that kind of thing, well, good for you. But it's an immediate reaction and you see it, it's a visceral thing. When it's on a keyboard, when it's an email, when it's a text, you can't see that person's reaction. It makes saying whatever you like much, much easier because there's not that contact. There's not that immediate, I can see that person's upset, I can see what I've done has been rude or hurtful or spiteful, or the vice versa. I can see they're elated, they're happy, they're over the moon, they think it's fantastic. I can see that in their body language, you know. And I think because a lot of the youngsters I was teaching especially lived their lives on their mobile phones, and this scarily even down to like properly young kids of 8 years old, 6, 7, 8 years old, that telling me I got a mobile phone for my birthday at 6 and 7 years old. I'm like, what, who are you talking to at 6 and 7 years old? I don't understand. So they grow up with this kind of idea that, I mean, my wife even says, you know, when she's at the office, obviously with all the current problems, she hasn't been at work, she's been working from home, but she said you work in an office environment where you've got a floor of people working within, you know, touching distance most of the time, and they will send emails rather than get up and walk across the office and talk to somebody, or turn around in their chair and talk to someone. They'll send an email. And you think, that what a world that we live in now, that kind of human interaction can become an alien thing to people. People then don't know how to interact with other people. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to react when a person reacts, you know, when they say something hurtful or rude or the other way around, and a person reacts or gets upset or cries, or people are like, oh, I don't know, what did I do? What did I say? You know, it's a weird world. Anyway, going back to the comments. Yes, there are some people that I mention quite a lot because of the fact that, you know, I kind of know them, and I don't mean in any way, shape or form to belittle anybody else. I'm not ignoring people's comments on purpose. I'm not, you know, marginalising people. I'm not trying to be, you know, ignore comments or not give people the proper respect they're due or owed, or they think they're due or owed. It's again, coming back to what I said earlier, YouTube, it's a funny animal, it's a funny beast, it's an interesting way of doing things, and it's not always a perfect system, and I'm by no means perfect. I'm not, you know, I'm just the same as anyone else. I am fallible. I'm a human being. I make mistakes. I get things wrong. Is it always how it should be or could be? No, probably not. You know, I do the best I can most of the time. That's all I can promise. That's all I can offer. And apologies if, you know, if people feel slighted or upset. You know, it's never my intention to do that. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to address that, and again, bit of a ramble. But it was just something I just felt was important to kind of mention. It's actually going further than I thought it was going to. I'm going to have to refill at some point, but it is going further. Does seem mad, and it got a massive, great big cedar over there. And the two crops I've chosen to use, I can't use it. Cultivating's still going well. That does mean I have to cultivate everything now, don't I? All more fields are going to need to be cultivated. Do I pick a different crop instead of corn? No, I'm not. No, I want to do corn. I'll just plug on with this. It'll take a bit more time, but so be it. You know what I decided? I had the means, I've got the machinery, let's get another cultivator. Because it's going to take me ages otherwise. We've got big fields, we've got a lot of them, a lot to cultivate. It does also mean if I take on any cultivating contracts I can get them done. Oh, look at the difference between the two. Shiny new and not so much. Very cool. What I will do is set the quad track off first, I think, and then we'll match it. I was thinking, and again, dangerous territory, I know, go with it. You know what my thought process can be like sometimes. Let's start that up, get that going. It's the weird teachery part of me. Is that if you've got a collective noun, for example, well, that was awkward. Just had a phone call. Typical, isn't it? I had to take it. Yeah, so collective nouns. So, for example, a school of fish, a murder of crows, whatever it might be, that word that defines the group. A group noun. What do you call a group of cultivators? Is it a cult? A cult of cultivators. That'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? We used to do lessons at school like that all the time when we were teaching about collective nouns, and we would give the children the opportunity to create their own collective nouns. So we'd pick something, you know, whatever it was. Teachers was one of them we always just go with. What would you call a group of teachers? There was always one of those moments you stop and you think, oh, please. Please be kind. You would always have that one child in the class that would come out with something and you think, oh, I can't say that out loud. But yeah, you know, so I don't know why I just suddenly thought a cult of cultivators. It popped into my head. Weird, didn't it? What do you reckon? What should a group of cultivators be called? A scrape? A drag of cultivators? I don't know. It's weird, isn't it, how these things pop into... I told you, just go with it. It's a weird place, my mind. So we got to that point where we were a two harvester family, and then we got 3. We're now a 2 cultivator family. Cool. And big ones too. That all came off of the back. When I was a kid, it was that 2-car family thing, you know. When I was growing up, you know, we had 1 car and it was an old banger. It was a proper old heap of a thing. When people bought a new car, it was like, wow. When you met that kid that was a 2-car family, oh yeah, my mum and dad have both got cars. You're like, what? No way, you must be well rich. I suppose now it's more common, isn't it? You know, people have 2 cars, it's not unusual. It's funny how times change, don't they? God, I sound so old now. When I was a lad, people couldn't afford 2 cars. There'll be kids watching going, what? There were families that didn't have 2 cars? What kind of world did you grow up in? I know, a scary place. It's practically barbaric. So, with my new cult established, oh, that didn't sound good at all, did it? With the cultivators doing their job and the planter doing its job, we've come up to pick up the new skid steer loader. We're getting it from here. So go in, have a quick chat, and work out what we're going to do. Fantastic. Just round the back, I can go and grab it. Is there a gate? Oh, there we go, straight out here. In the big building behind the one with the tyre, that's the one there. There it is. Massey Ferguson 356 with rear weight. A lot of weight over the back. Gives you more balance over the front. I've used it before. I will use it again. Really cheap. I just paid 5,900. Well, I had previously paid 5,900. I had pre-purchased. And doesn't take up much space either, which is absolutely fantastic. Right, let's open that. Close that. But that should be fine for what we need to do now. It's a bit older, with a bit of regular and routine maintenance. We should be absolutely fine with this. Awesome. And with that, with all my ramblings, look at this cotton. I decided to do my massive cotton planting, and I think I've got more fields with cotton in around for contracts than I have done the whole time I've been on here. Typical, isn't it? Oh, I'm starting to lose the light. Yeah, so we have come to the end of this episode. I'm going to carry on getting the seeding plant. Well, it's planting, is it? I'm doing cotton and corn, so I'll be planting across the board. I'm going to cultivate everything, then get the planter across all of it. All of field 3, top and bottom, will be cotton, and then field 6, 7 and 17 will be corn. And I'll see you in the morning, and we're going to get chickens. That's the next step. We'll see how we're doing for wool. I am going to need to purchase a flatbed of some description for putting the wool pallets on. But again, I've freed up quite a bit of space, so we should be okay. And that second cultivator only used one because we already had one, so made perfect sense. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.